because man,
each other.
Like hi! Oh my God! Hi, we're recording.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say.
Hi, Steph. You want to say hi? Just yeah.
Hi.
What's
hi.
up? How are you?
Oh, we'll chat later. Bye, Steph. Sorry about that.
Oh, good.
Hey Kickers, AJ here, and we are back for another Mat Chat with our lovely guest, Amanda Cass. She is a awesome martial artist and stunt woman, but I want to actually let you do a little bit of a quick bio before we get into the questions.
Hey everybody, happy to be here today at the Mat Chat. I'm a martial artist, stunt woman. I have been doing martial arts for like 24 years now. I first started when I was 8 years old and been doing it ever since. I also teach martial arts at our karate school. I started training for stunt work about 4 years ago. I actually never realized I could kind of create a career with something that I've been training my whole life for. And once I realized that, I got really excited about it and just really wanted to dive into that. Before that, I was actually doing in-home therapies with kids who have autism because my degree that I got from UMass Boston was actually in sociology. So in my late 20s, making that huge career change and deciding to kind of leave that behind and jump into this. And honestly, it's only been the last like couple of years that I've really taken a dive into stunts.
That's really cool though. You used to do like special needs and stuff like that too, pretty much?
Yeah. I right out of college, I ended up working in a school for a little while, got a little bit of experience there. And then I was working for the state and I would pick up clients and do in-home therapies with them and would do programming and stuff. There were some kids who had some severe cases of autism. So it definitely was eye-opening and taught me a lot of patience as well.
Actually pretty cool because I know it's very rare sometimes to find people that know how to take care of special needs students, especially like going into like martial arts instruction too. I know that I've had a little bit of experience with like working with special needs people, but I was never formally trained. So I think it's a great skill set to have in order to like communicate and share and be able to, you know, have them be inclusive in the martial arts and stuff too. So that's really awesome stuff.
Yeah, and luckily, like, I mean, we've had some cases in our karate school too, and having all that experience has definitely helped with that as well, kind of understanding them at a different level than other people may.
So we're going to get right into our first question. I know you briefly answered this. So when did you start doing karate, and actually what got you into going into martial arts? And this is from Michael.
A little mix of a couple of things. My mom used to train, and then in the 90s, you can believe how long ago that was, we decided to start doing it again together. So I started training in 1997 when I was 8. My mom is also a 4th degree black belt. My daughter also does martial arts too. So it's kind of been like a family thing. One of the film inspirations for me was the Power Rangers. You know, I used to have this little VHS tape that I used to watch where the Green Ranger did a karate class. So that definitely sparked the interest a little bit too, but it was a mix of family and kind of, you know, being a little kid and seeing some stuff on TV.
That's pretty amazing. So your mom actually did martial arts too. You ended up doing it. Now your daughter's doing it. That's really cool to have really strong women actually going into martial arts and just having a martial arts family.
It's cool to have something to bond over for all of us to talk about too.
So Power Rangers kind of full thing right there, kind of getting you into it too. I know that's a really common thing. Do you have a favorite Ranger actually by chance? So is it Green Ranger, or do you have like a different?
I didn't have like really a favorite when I was a little kid. I do remember having the yellow Power Rangers pajamas, but other than that, I kind of liked all of them. I just liked the whole show.
The reason why I asked too, because I know you did actually do work with Kamen Ramen Studios before, and you actually did play the Yellow Ranger too. So I did not know if you actually were able to play your dream Ranger character, because I know that's like everyone's dream if they ever grew up with like watching Power Rangers, just being one. Yeah, that's actually, that worked out for you kind of actually right there. Who are some of your biggest martial arts inspirations actually?
Well, I'm sure everyone says Jackie Chan. That's one of them. I also was a big fan of watching like some of Bill Superfoot Wallace's stuff from back in the day. I've always been super impressed that one, his kicks are so good, And two, at this point, like he's getting a lot older, but it doesn't seem like he's like losing too much of that ability. And that's one of my goals, is to kind of be able to maintain what I have now for years to come. And watching people who are older and still training at a high level kind of gives you that, all right, well, this is possible for me to keep this up for quite a long time. And just all of his stretching videos are really great. So that's definitely one of the faves.
Superfruit Wallace is definitely a legend over there, a great inspiration. And yeah, that guy is still kicking even in his older. I think that's the most badass thing too, just having older people kind of being that mentor. And it's really cool that you're trying to be a good inspiration, I think, for other women out there, and just other people in general, just being a martial artist that's still active in their older age, because I think a lot of that is lost, especially in a lot of westernized and Americanized martial arts studios, where you just kind of sit there and kind of just sit and teach, and it's you just kind of get lazy and lax. And
you see that a lot. It's super important to like keep going, keep learning, because there's always something else to learn in the martial arts.
So next question, as I'm saying this, so did you actually compete a lot during your martial arts career? Because I know some people have like a various experience with this, because I know there's a lot of unknown, I think, people that haven't competed a lot, but they're great martial artists and they practice and apply really well. So do you happen to have a really strong competition background yourself?
I wouldn't say I have like a really strong background in competition. I did do like some of the circuits and stuff. I did the NASCA, ISCA, but that was only, I don't know, around like 16 or 17. I kind of got a little bit interested in that, but it's not something that I wasn't like holding titles. I wasn't the kid that was going to tournaments every weekend to like maintain a certain rank or anything like that. Whenever I jump into a competition, like you said, you have these people who are unknown. I usually would do pretty well and I'd place, but I wasn't there all the time competing. I did do a couple of big ones. I went to the US Open. I did the Quebec Open and the Twin Towers Classic, but that was only over like, I don't know, between like 16, 17 years old that I got a little bit into it, but I was never like traveling with a team or doing it every weekend. And then we would have local tournaments around here. Our school wasn't super heavy at, it wasn't a tournament school, like some schools where they literally just train to do tournaments. But I would also do some of the local competitions around where I grew up. So
that's pretty cool with that. Did you have a particular division that you actually enjoy competing in, though, for the times that you do go for tournaments?
I did like traditional forms. I enjoyed the traditional style of martial arts. So that was definitely one area where I like to compete. And then growing up, we used to have a division at the local tournaments called the self-defense ones. And I always loved that too, because like we got creative and just made stuff up. And it was like, similar to making a choreo for film, except you're doing it in a ring and in front of judges. But I always like to be creative. So that was another one of my favorites.
That's cool. I've never had the chance to compete in that. So you had fight experience even before you got into film. Look at that right there. Oh. Man. What style actually martial arts did you study actually? Or did you study various ones by chance?
Shaolin Kempo Karate is like the base, the foundation of what I do. And then I've done, well, mainly because of stunts. I mean, our school also did like some Eskrima and stuff like that. And so mixed it up a little bit. But then, once I started dabbling into stunts, then I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to train a lot more styles. So now I like cross training in boxing and pretty much just trying to look like I know other styles on camera. At least, we're not experts in all these other styles, but as long as you look like you can do them, like a little bit of judo, a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of boxing, it's definitely good to know more than just your foundation. One of the things I struggled with was, like, for example, strikes. Karate's always coming from here. And then when you're on film, they're like, no, keep your hands up. Everything comes from here. So like some of the muscle memory adaptations were definitely hard to break.
Is there actually a style that if you have a lot more time into it, besides like, obviously training for martial arts stunt work and fight scene work, is there a style you'd like to delve into more if you have the time to and really like try to master?
There's definitely a few. I really like the footwork in Taekwondo. I would like to study that a little bit more. I've added a lot of that into my training, but they move with so much agility all the time. They're always up bouncing and ready to go. So that's one. Kung Fu is another one. I don't know specifically which style of Kung Fu. I'd have to do a little bit more research. I actually started following someone on Patreon to like do a little bit of Kung Fu and maybe a little bit of wrestling. I kind of got to do a little bit of wrestling last year and I actually kind of really liked it.
That's a good collective right there to hit on your martial arts list of things to learn. I think that's nice over there too, and I
Yeah.
guess learning as well. So this one is actually from Lee B. Golden from Film Combat Syndicate. He said it's a Hong Kong action movie question. And he says it's movie night. So what are we watching? What Hong Kong cinema film would you have in mind if you have any particularly? Because I know some people know more about the Hong Kong cinema. Some people just know more about like action in general.
Honestly, like I'm not super well versed in the Hong Kong cinema. I'd probably pick a Jackie Chan movie. I'd probably pick like Police Story or something like that. Yeah, that's probably what it would be.
Which Police Story movie? Do you know off the top of your head? Or would you do like a marathon probably? That's a
Maybe
long
a
marathon. That's
I
a
think
long
marathon
marathon.
movie. Yeah, do it all.
I think, wait, that whole movie series is almost like a whole day. I think that's like a 12, almost
That'd
like
be
12 hours.
that'd be a long marathon. I'd have to get some snacks to be ready to go.
Oh my gosh. Next question from Julian. What is your favorite fight scene that you've done so far? Or do you have like some quick favorites? Because I know that's like sometimes a hard question to answer at times too.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
We just put out a short SciShow. We had a lot of fun shooting that. Sometimes when you're doing bigger stuff, like I was working on a scene on a bigger film where we were doing a riot, and that was fun too. But I would definitely say like some of the smaller stuff when you're working with your friends is a lot of fun when you get to create together. I don't have one favorite, but we did have a lot of fun creating our last little SciShow film there. If you check it out on my KicKin page.
Somewhere on the bottom here.
Somewhere. Yeah, you'll find it. Then we had a lot of fun creating that. I just love to get creative with friends.
When you do the fight scenes with your friends, do you actually help with the choreography, or do you place yourself more as a performer? Actually, where are you right now in terms of like your career path? I guess in performance film. And
I think it honestly depends. Usually performer, but sometimes like I'll give input. It just depends on like who's there and who we're working with, and kind of what the vibe is. So I guess it just depends.
Do you have a dream fight sequence? And this is from Derek Lamar.
Ooh, I would like to do more with wires. So a fight sequence that involves a lot more wire work involved in it. I enjoy doing wires, so I definitely would like to get an opportunity to kind of do something more on the superhero realm where the character, gets assist with the wires, but the movement would be a lot different than the traditional, like what we're just doing on the ground and then wrecking.
Gotcha. How is wire work actually? Because I've only done wire work like once, and it was like only once, and I did it like on set that day. And I'm like, hey, you're doing stunts. Hey, we're also gonna put you on the wire thing. I know you have, since you do train with a lot of the other stunt people. What is it like actually doing martial arts and stunt work with wires?
I like it. It's a lot of fun. The big difference, like what you did, is probably a hand pull, and that's kind of like you're going straight back. So it just depends on exactly what you're doing, but it is a lot of fun. I enjoy the times that I've gotten to be on the wire. It's really fun. I remember the first time I ever did one of those pulls, I did not expect the force that was coming back. I was like, oh, whoa.
Do you have a favorite like wire stunt that you practice actually?
I wouldn't say I have a favorite. Gooches are pretty interesting. It's like when the wire is like through your legs and they flip you upside down. That's kind of fun. But other than that, I wouldn't say I have anything like specifically that's a favorite.
You would consider yourself more a traditional martial artist, actually, your base? Correct?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I know from a lot of traditional martial artists, they actually don't like the spinning aspect of like kicking and tricking. How was that something that you actually had to train yourself to get used to, or were you actually really accustomed to it, surprisingly?
I actually did gymnastics growing up as well. I don't consider myself like a hardcore gymnast or anything like that, but I did do gymnastics from actually age 1 to 5, and then from like 11 to 15 years old. So I had like a foundation, and like I have my back handspring, my back tug, my round off back handspring, like simple skills, and I still always train those just to keep them fresh. So spinning and jumping and stuff like that, I've always actually liked to do it. So even though like my background in martial arts is more of a traditional background, I still had that little bit of acrobatic background from the gymnastics side of things.
That's pretty cool right there, because I know it is a struggle sometimes, especially if you're not used to your body sensitivity in the air. So that helps you out a lot greatly right there. That's a great that's a great skill set to have actually, and background to have.
Gives you a little bit of air awareness.
Is there anything currently right now that you're working on that you're able to share with us? Because I know obviously if you're in film world, sometimes you're riddled in NDAs, so you really can't share the cool stuff that you're doing at this moment in time. But sometimes you're like, hey, I'm kind of doing this very vaguely, but I don't know if you have anything that you can share or you'd like to share.
I did actually recently sign some NDAs, and some of the stuff that I've just recently did has not come out yet. Like I told you, we did like a riot scene for. It was something for Netflix, so we'll keep it kind of like vague. And then I did oh, I can't talk about it. We'll do it when it comes out because it's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh. See, that's why, guys, you need to make sure you follow her on Instagram, by the way. Check it, kick it like Cass. So that way you know what's happening. And unless I guess you meet them in person or something like that, and it's like you make them sign an NDA, then you give them the beans right there. She'll let you know then in that case. But oh man, that's exciting though. And I think that's really cool that you actually got some awesome gigs over at Netflix, doing some professional stunt work over there. That's really cool with that, and some other stuff too. I know I heard some other things as well, I think down the line from our one friend Kage, that you got some cool things going on too in stunt work. Yeah, but I'm guessing
that just wrapped in February, what you're talking about. So like I don't, and that's the thing, like, everything started back up. So with film now, who knows when it's going to come out though? Cause it seems like they're really all over the place with when they release stuff, Like I have some friends who worked on something like 2 years ago and it still hasn't come out yet because they've been like holding a lot of stuff because they don't have as much content. Well, now that things are starting to pick back up, but we'll see where things go.
So yes, follow her. Make sure you get in the loops if you want to have a more detailed picture of what we're talking about or what she's going to be talking about. She'll be dropping that probably on her Instagram there. So you said you started martial arts at the age of 8, actually, right? So how is your training regimen right now, actually?
Well, obviously everything's changed because of COVID. I've preferred like more solo training and stuff for the time being. I do have a couple of friends that I trust to train with, but usually depending on my schedule, I do like to run a lot more now. I wasn't a huge fan of that before. Actually, I hated it, but it keeps me in better shape. So I'll do running, I'll do sprinting, I'll do work on my punching bag. I have like a little setup in my basement so that I can do rounds on the bag. I've been working on a lot more like agility and stuff. Like I said, like the TKD stuff. I'll set up my agility ladder and stuff and do a lot of the drills that I've seen a lot of people doing Taekwondo, with a lot of that bouncing on the toes and like sinking in. I've been adding a lot of that into my training as well. I also like to do like HIIT workouts a few times a week, HIIT agility. And then usually I'll have a day where I practice a lot more like air awareness stuff, like the basic gymnastics. And then I'll try and add in like a new skill at least once a week to just rep it as many times as I can. I kind of almost lost my aerial, but I've been like adding that into my training to like fix it,
No, Amanda, no. Well, regardless, the aerial flipping is cool and stuff like that, but no, like, but she got some deadly kicks over there too, everything. And plus, the reason why I asked this too, because I know I asked this privately before on Instagram, like I think after, what was it, right after or right before 2021 or right after 21, you posted up an amazing picture of like your freaking like your body work and stuff that you were just like training hard. And I know a lot of people kind of do that gradually as like they progress, but it's a lot more of a drastic hit when obviously like, bam, look at the muscle and stuff.
You see the difference.
Yeah.
Actually, the start of that was I was in Atlanta. A stunt coordinator down there invited 20 of us up and coming performers to go train with him. And like he put us to work. We were training really hard, which that started like he made us run every morning and then would do some sort of like maybe sprinting and then some sort of agility work and then would do different style of martial arts. So some days we're wrestling, some days we're doing like TKD work, some days mid drills. So that kind of really like took it off. And then when I came home, I was like super motivated because I was like, oh, that was so great. I just kept up with my training, and then I tightened up my diet. I eat really clean. You know, I have a cheat day once a week. So that kind of like kicked things off and like put me on that path to really make sure I'm in like top notch shape, which it helps a lot because, you know, you never know what you're going to do as a stunt performer. So the more agile you are, the better shape you are. You're able to do it as many takes as they need. Sometimes it's once, sometimes it's a lot more. So
What's the most amount of retakes you've had to do on the set? Do you actually know?
usually those happen on like our smaller stuff. When we're allowed to be like, you know what? No, we got to do it again. We got to do it. You know, the bigger sets, sometimes like you think something maybe didn't look that good. And they're like, all right, that's a wrap, moving on. And you're like, really? Okay. But other, like when you're doing your own stuff, you're able to be like your own worst enemy. And you're like, no, can we get another one, please? You know, it's that perfectionist. I'm sure you know, you have great movement. So I'm sure you understand that like mindset where you're like, no, we should do it again. Let's try it again.
Oh man. But I mean, okay, that makes sense though, definitely with that.
Yeah.
But I think it shows you, especially like I guess if you're going to be dabbling into other areas besides just performing, well, as a performer, I think it would be helpful obviously to be aware of how you look on camera so you can perform your best so you don't have to do as many takes, right? Because I know it gets tiring specifically for certain things, and it kind of lowers the performance level as you do a scene sometimes, especially with stunts too. Like I know I wouldn't want to do a rec more than I need to, obviously, because as much as you have to condition, and even as you're hearing Amanda explaining here, she trains a lot too. It takes a toll on the body, and you know, we're still human. We're still human. We're not superheroes or anything like that we're actually on film. So it's better to make sure you get it right the first time as much as possible. So we stay good and we can continue working and be badasses like Amanda. Be like Amanda. Be
Be like AJ too.
Kicking like Cass. Follow the tagline. That's how we're doing that right now. Getting a little bit into another topic over here. You said your daughter trains too. So did she actually get acquainted with martial arts? Like did she show a really strong interest in it, or did you like, hey, it's like, honey, you're gonna do martial arts kind of thing?
Well, I think literally almost like being born into it. And a lot of the times, you know, you see what your parents do sometimes, and when you're a little kid, you're like, oh, that looks fun. So I kind of just got her right into it. I mean, I did martial arts till I was like, I don't know, 7, 8 months pregnant anyways. So yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. People will be like, and I still got to do it, you know. Once she was there, she was always in the dojo and seeing it all the time. And so I got her pretty much right into it. When she was little, it was tough with the focus. So about like age 6, she was like focused enough to 5 or 6. She was more focused enough to kind of like actually jump into it. And she loves it now. She's a 2nd degree brown belt. She's actually going to be celebrating her 13th birthday. But yeah, no, she really enjoys it. And actually, when I'm teaching, she'll like assist me and help teach the kids. So she's learning a lot.
I know you had a short that you actually posted on your TikTok, because you're not just on Instagram, right? You do have a TikTok that you post up sometimes too.
Yes, I'm not as good at TikTok, but I have one.
I'm trying to trust me, it's kind of the same thing over on my end. It's like you put something out there occasionally, you're like, this works, but TikTok thing with it. But besides the point, excuse me. I saw that you actually posted up, and I commented on your post about this when you did like a little fight scene or action scene with your daughter, and I thought that was hella cute. And that's really
yeah, that was fun. We created a little short and let her go into it. She's very much like a people person, entertainer. So I think it's highly likely that she might end up in this field as well. So she said that like she maybe wants to be an actress. So we'll see. She can be whatever she wants to be, but she's definitely had an interest in it.
So this kind of segues into our final thoughts and questions for today, actually. So what advice then would you give to someone like your daughter that wants to pursue martial arts as a career, or martial arts as a martial arts or stunt performance in film? What advice would you give them if they want to get into this space?
Be teachable. Listen to, you know, critiques, take what you can, leave what you can't take in, but listen to other people, be kind and be teachable. That's the best advice I could give. And that seems to be the best way to go about it. You know, just be nice to people and be teachable.
There we go. Character from Amanda Cass right there. So before we sign out, Amanda, I know we've been dropping some of your handles and links over here throughout the chat, but where can they find you, just to reiterate, just in case they missed it or something of the sort, or they forgot like 5 seconds ago?
Kickin Cash. All of my handles are the same, no matter where you go. I have a Kickin Cast page on Facebook, on Instagram. I have YouTube. I don't really post anything on YouTube. There's like 3 videos up there, and usually I just like put my stunt reel there to send to coordinators. But other than that, TikTok, it's also Kickin Cast. So that's where I am.
Is there any way that if people wanted to support you and what you're doing, is there any way that they can? How would you like audience to help you out, I guess, in pursuing whatever endeavors that you're doing? Is there anything
I also I recently made a fan base, which I'm going to start putting a lot more stuff on there, and you're actually able to monetize it there. So go follow me on that as well, and I'm going to eventually start monetizing that. So
great stuff.
That's the best way.
Because creators got to eat too, just so you know, guys. So appreciate when you guys, myself and like Cass too, eventually with that, using those links, liking, subscribing, favoriting, saving, sharing, all that stuff really helps in terms of getting us out there and having us hopefully fall under the right eye so that we get bigger opportunities down the line, right? So that's pretty much it. So thank you, Cass, for coming on in so much and having this match chat. Had a lot of fun with that. And I guess until next time, we are actually probably going to be a part 2, maybe part 3, depending on things, how things go. We're actually going to be working together on a fight scene. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. That's actually going to be showing on the Our School Dropouts YouTube channel. That short there. Really badass. Been working on that. Super hype. I haven't conveyed how hype it is going to be, and we're going to be talking to you about this after this interview. So I think
I'm excited. Cool. It's going to be fun.
So please stay tuned for that. Check that out. Again, it's going to be on the Our School Dropouts YouTube video. And of course, myself and Cass are probably going to be posting some snippets and things eventually when it comes out too. So you'll be seeing some cool stuff. And I'll be actually talking with Cass in person down the line. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm excited for it.
Good stuff. So until next time, as always, guys, remember, keep on kicking. Bye, guys.
See you later.